Once upon a time, in a quiet, sun-drenched valley, there lived a man named Jonah. He had everything he needed, except one thing. He was always thirsty. He lived in a humble cabin just a short walk from a well that bubbled with the clearest, freshest water in the entire valley. Yet Jonah never went to the well. He sat by his cabin day after day, gazing at the well from a distance, wishing the water to quench his thirst. But each time he thought of the effort that it would take to walk there, lower the bucket, and carry the water back. He convinced himself it was just too much. The well is too far, he muttered. The bucket is too heavy. What if the water isn't as sweet as everyone says? So Jonah remained thirsty, always dreaming of water, yet never willing to make the journey. Then one summer evening, as the air grew thick with heat and tension, a sudden storm began to roll in. The sky darkened, and with a deafening crack, a bolt of lightning struck a tree near Jonah's cabin, setting it ablaze. Flames licked at the branches, spreading quickly toward his home. Jonah watched in horror as the fire grew closer, panic rising in his chest. He had to stop the fire. The well that he was always avoiding, the one that seemed too far and too much effort, but the flames were inching nearer, threatening to consume everything he had. Jonah knew there was no other choice. With his heart racing and the fire crackling loudly behind him, Jonah bolted toward the well. The distance seemed endless, but his urgency propelled him forward. When he finally reached the well, he grabbed the rope with trembling hands and lowered the bucket into the cool, deep water. He pulled it up so fast that he even surprised himself with how light it seemed to be. The weight of the bucket no longer seemed to be a burden, but a lifeline. He raced back to his cabin, pouring the water onto the flames. He returned again and again, until at last the fire was extinguished. Exhausted but relieved, Jonah sat by the well, his chest heaving from the effort. In that moment, Jonah realized something. His thirst had been more than just for water. It was for life itself, for the ability to face challenges and to do the work necessary to protect and nourish his world. And as he drank from the bucket, the water tasted sweeter than he had ever imagined, because he had earned it. From that day forward, Jonah no longer feared the walk to the well. He understood now that sometimes it takes a fire, a storm, or a great challenge to spark the determination to go the extra distance. And when you do, you're rewarded, not just with what you need, but with the strength to face whatever comes next. Are you longing for something in your life to change, and you know you need to do something, but you don't know what that something is? This is a story of a thirst, but then not willing to do the thing necessary to quench that thirst. So with this story of Jonah, you can see it's pretty obvious that, really, dude, if you want to quench a thirst, you got to go to the well, right? It seems really easy. But when I stand back and I look at the clients I have worked with, I look at my own family, and even myself, I look at myself, I want this thing. Well, Jen, you got to go get the thing then. Like, you have to leave the couch, you have to leave the house sometimes. You have to go, right? We all have that. But at the end of the day, the thing that we want is the ability to overcome the challenges in our lives. And what I want to emphasize today, with my hope for a nugget of inspiration towards your transformation today, is that you realize that you can't have anything literally for free. Now, when I say free, I don't necessarily mean that you have to pay money for something, but you have to give something to get something. This is the law of giving and receiving. But here's this thing. Here's this secret, if you will. I've been listening to, I read a lot of older books, and I get a ton of wisdom from the way the authors wrote. Like, this is like in the 1920s. And this particular book is not from that age or that era, but Joseph Murphy is one of my favorite authors. I have a lot of favorite authors, but he's one of my favorites. Every single sentence in any one of his books are so profound and so deep that you might have to ponder it. Like sometimes, like I can only read or listen to a little bit at a time. And then I will go for a walk, or I'll go outside, or I'll sit and meditate, and I'll meditate about that thing. And there's so much truth in it. But anyway, the book that I'm listening to or reading right now is called The Secret Formula by Joseph Murphy. And what he's saying is you can't get something for free. So if you want healing, you want to manifest something, you want to deepen your connections or your relationships, you want to create abundance, whatever it is, you want to solve a problem, you can't just get it for free. You can't just give it to me, like say, hey, like give it to me, give me the water from the well. Nobody's going to do that. Like the sooner you recognize that nobody is going to come and rescue you, there is no knight on a white horse. Now, that feels like, oh, well, gosh, like my life is over. I'm never going to amount to anything, or I'm never going to do anything. Nobody's here to save you. And I'm like, that's okay, because that's also empowering, because now we get to sit back and go, I get to create my life. I get to do something that allows my life to unfold in this beautiful, miraculous way. So let's talk about healing. I said a couple episodes ago, I wanted to talk about healing. I wanted to keep going. And I want to talk about healing in this way. So there's lots of stories. So if we think of Jonah, he's thirsty. He's sitting by his cabin. He's looking at the thing over there. That's the well. That's his solution. But what he's saying is it's too much effort. And every single time I do my talk from stage about meditation, and it's about overcoming, that every single time I ask the audience, what are your obstacles? Like, what problems do you have? What are you working on? How long have you been working on it? And do you know that meditation can help? And the answers flow miraculously. Yes, they have problems. Yes, they have pain. They've been dealing with it for 1,000 years. Yes, they know that meditation can help them, but they don't do it. They don't actually walk to the well to get the bucket to quench their thirst. And I go, what are your obstacles? And then they list all of the common obstacles to meditation, which is no time, and I don't know how, I don't know where to start, I can't focus, I can't sit still, I fall asleep. It's all the same obstacles. And I say, all of those are obstacles, yes, but can every single one of them be overcome? Because if Jonah is at his house and he looks over there and he sees the well, but then he's like, it's just too much effort. Meditation is too hard. And I think you just have to sit there. You just have to sit there and go inward. You just have to spend some time inside not dealing with, but inside working with, getting to know, deepening your connection with your inner energy, your higher self, God, the source that created you, and the source that solves all of the problems, solves all of your problems. So if he's sitting there and that's the only problem he has is that he's thirsty, and he looks over there and there's a well and he goes, that's too much effort. And I'm like, what? In the story, it seems like, dude, how dumb can you get? Like, go to the well. Your water's there. And he would just make an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. And I have a lot of people in my life that are like this. They're just not ready. They're not open until, and that's the key word, until something so traumatic, some giant event shows up in your life that says, are you ready now? Because our spirit is calling us forward. Our spirit is calling us forward. And it is saying, hey, listen, you have a greater life ahead of you. This problem is just this miniature little thing. It's a challenge for you to go inward to find the solution. You have to stop going outside of you. And then all of a sudden there's a fire at his house and all of his things are going to burn completely to the ground. Now he's motivated. And I say, don't wait for some traumatic event to happen to become motivated. Go, you know what? I have a desire. And this desire is, I don't know, I want more money, or I want a deeper relationship, or I want to change careers, or I want this ailment to go away. Do it now. Don't wait for the fire. Don't wait for your house to start on fire before you go, oh, okay, now I'm going to pray. Now I'm going to meditate. Don't wait for that. You know, there are so many stories, so many stories of people who they know that it's in there, it's in the back of their mind, but they ignore it. That urge to meditate, the urge to go inward, the urge to find something different than what they've been doing. And now they're in the hospital. They've had an accident. They've come down with the disease. Now they're sitting in the hospital. They're going to be there for several weeks. People are coming and going, and then that kind of fades. Now it's just the really close people to you. The flowers stop showing up. The nurses get old. It's just like the same old, same old. And then what do you have? The only thing left is you spending time with you. You've had this traumatic event or this accident, or you've acquired this disease that is allowing you the time to say, hey, dude, now, how about now? Are you ready now? And I've been talking about meditation for 507 episodes. And you may or may not have been listening to all 507 of those episodes. But are you ready now? Are you ready to begin the practice of going inward to unlock your potential? Because it's the next step. It's always the next step. And for Jonah, it's the next step. Dude, get off your ass and go over there to the well and get the water. Solve your problem. It's too much effort. Oh, it's too much work. Oh, it might not be as good as I thought. Dude, go. It's time. Now, only you can make that decision. Only you can make that decision. But listen, I'm standing right here. I'm standing right here waiting for you to show up in your life. This is the message. If you are hearing this, wherever you're at, you're dealing with a problem, you're dealing with some pain of some sort, you're looking for a solution, and I'm going, it's inside you. Now, let's talk about that. What the heck do I mean inside you? Like, what does that mean? We have to pay a price to get a thing. Okay, if we want a deeper relationship, we have to pay a price. And that price doesn't mean it's big, giant action sometimes, but the first price is faith, trust, surrender, commitment. The first price is something that is calling you forward to pay attention to. It is something inside you that says, I need to look at this thing, look at this desire that I want. If that desire is something you want, it's already in creative mode. If you have a thought of a thing, a longing for something, know that it's already there. It's already waiting for you. Okay? All you have to do is walk to the door and unlock it. Now, the walk doesn't have to be that long. It doesn't have to be strenuous, but it is just like Jonah walking to the well. Now, when you get to the well, there might be some stuff for you to do. He can't just walk to the well. He now has to lower the bucket. He now has to pull up the bucket. He now has to pour it into a different reservoir, and then he needs to take that back to his house. So there's going to be some effort at the end. But however, when something was knocking at his door so loudly like a fire in his backyard, that effort was no big deal. It was no big deal. And that's what I'm telling you. So we have to pay a price. So here's my thought. When it comes to the thing that you want, don't wait for the door to get knocked down or kicked in or a fire to start or a disease to show up. Do it now. And what do? You go inward. You calm the body. You shut out the environment. You get into a quiet space. You tune into the energy within you. So you shut out that outside world. You close your eyes. You get into a quiet location. You set up a beautiful meditation station. You light some incense. You take off your shoes. You get comfortable. And then you close your eyes and you begin to breathe. You calm the nervous system that's always wanting to push the environment around. You calm the nervous system. And then you focus. That's the price. Focus. You focus for 10 minutes at a time. And just go inward and go, I wonder what I'm going to find when I go in here. It's like walking into a new realm, but it's like walking into a new room, a new house, a new building, a new location. This should be exciting. This should be the best time of your life because you are now going to start intermingling with the divine that allows things to unfold with ease. The water is in the well. The divine is providing this fresh, clean source of water, life. All you have to do is go get it. All you have to do is walk over there. So how big is this desire? Because as soon as you say, I want this thing, don't immediately say after that, it might just be too hard to get it. It might just take too much effort. It might just be too much. Here's the thing. Your spirit wants that thing. It has been communicating to you, which is where the idea came from, that you want the thing, whatever the thing is. That idea came to you and your spirit is going to keep trying to push you that direction. And eventually, if you don't go, things are going to get hard. They're going to get worse. So when we think about healing, check this out. This was a quote from the book, The Secret Formula by Joseph Murphy. And this was a quote from the book. And I love this so much because it is totally, just think about this for a second. And this is where you have to, this is like old English, right? Sort of. But when we bring in the light, the darkness leaves. It's never reversed. When I throw back the curtains, the shadows disappear and the light overcomes. When I talk about light, I'm talking about the divine. I'm talking about the God, the source-like energy. When I bring in the light, the darkness leaves. When I bring in love, hate leaves. When I bring in health and healing, sickness leaves. When I open the door, the shadows retreat. So check this out. This is a quote from Joseph Murphy in his book, The Secret Formula. Divine love dissolves anything unlike itself. Isn't that great? We're talking about healing the body. Divine love dissolves anything unlike itself. So if I bring in light, if it doesn't match, it dissolves it. Darkness does not match light. It dissolves it. The light dissolves the darkness. I just love that so much. And that to me got me to pause and to think, okay, let's talk about frequency. Let's talk about meditation. Let's talk about our mind. What are you feeding your mind with? How many times a day do you say, I'm so sick and tired of blank? I'm so sick and tired of not having money. I'm so sick and tired of this ailment I have. I'm so sick and tired of my kids requesting so much and demanding my time and blah, blah, blah. I'm so sick and tired of my boss doing yankety yank. How many times do you say, I'm so sick and tired? Now be careful, because check this out. Your words become things. The things you say with so much vigor and so much energy become manifest. Now you are now 50 years old, you're 60 years old, you're 70 years old, and what are you? Sick and tired. So we have talked about, I don't know how many times in our 500 episodes, about careful what you say, careful what you wish for, changing your words, thinking about what you're thinking about. This is the waking up process, my friend. If you want healing, you have to think about the words you're using. You have to become aware. You have to become aware of the words you're using, the things you're saying, and how you're feeling. If I stand in any given moment and I go, how am I feeling in this moment? On a scale from 1 to 10, how am I feeling? Crappy. I'm thirsty. I'm Jonah, sitting on my steps, longing for that water to make its way to my cabin. It's not coming. Nobody is coming to rescue you. You must go over there. You must get up. You must walk over there. Now, here's the thing. This is the cost. Having faith that there is something. If you're still listening to this, you have faith. You have faith in something greater than you. It is the cost that I put in the dedication. I put in the commitment. I make the decision that I'm going to overcome this challenge. From then on, Jonah goes, you know what? Every single day now, I'm going to go to the well and get fresh water. And guess what? He has solved his problem. But he had to have a fire lit up under his yoo-hoo that says, get going, or your whole life is going to burn to the ground. I don't want that to happen to you. So when we think of the steps, we think of the pay, I go, is your life becoming better worth paying for? Is your life becoming better worth it to you to get up and to walk to the well? That's the only question I can ask you. And then, is it worth it to you? Because at the end of the day, think about how sweet that water's going to taste. You overcame that challenge. Think about if you sit down and meditate, if you sit down and you work the energy and you overcome within a week, let's say you did that for 7 days, and within a week you get a promotion, or maybe better yet, you get fired from that job and you get a better job with more pay and more benefits and fewer hours and a better boss and better coworkers and closer to home and a kid daycare, or gosh, you can bring your dog to work, whatever, or you can do some of it at home. And it just is like this amazing thing that happens to you. And you're going to look back and go, why didn't I do that before? Just like Jonah. He's like, why didn't I go to the well before? Why didn't I listen to Jen, the other 490 episodes, to go inward to start solving the problem? And then I'm going to ask you one more question. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? When you go in, what are you afraid you're going to see? You walk your way all the way to the door. You have the key to unlock it. Will you unlock it? Will you unlock that door and step into the newer version of you? the woman or the man that can overcome any challenge by tapping into the inner energy. Will you do it? And that's the biggest question. When we learn something new, you learn how to drive. You remember, you're like, oh, I'm 16 or 17 or however old, and or 15, and you're learning to drive, and you're like, oh, I'm so excited. But you had to pay to learn that skill. Not with money necessarily. That's not what I mean. But you had to dedicate yourself. You made the decision to learn this new skill. You had to pay with time. You had to pay with some effort. You had to pay with the focus and ability to learn new things as the teacher is teaching you something. You had to pay with commitment. You had to pay with surrender. Somewhere in there, you have to give the commitment and the decision that says, I don't know everything. That's why we don't just hand you the piece of plastic and say, go ahead and you can take my car into town. I don't know how to drive. Oh, it doesn't matter. Go. We'll see you later. You probably won't see them later, right? So we did have to pay. There is a cost. You do have to sit the body down. You do have to overcome the monkey mind. You do have to overcome the anxiety of the body that wants to get up and engage with the environment. But here's the thing. Life is so much sweeter on the other side. Life is so much sweeter when you're drinking the water from the well. And you do have to put in the effort. And when you get there, when you do the meditation, when you sit the body down, when you focus, when you pay that way, when you are exchanging some of that kind of internal effort, you might be called to take action. You might be called to take action. You might have to send out a resume. You might have to pull hard on the rope to get the bucket that's full of water to come up. You might have to carry the bucket back to the house. You might have to pour the bucket into a new reservoir. You might have to pump the handle. Right? There might be some physical in the world effort. In the 3D world, I might have to exert myself. I might have to pay a little bit with some time and some physical effort. But here's the thing. It's going to be inspired. Just like he has a fire going on in his backyard, he didn't even think twice. Off I go to the well to get water to save my life, to save all of my belongings in my house. All right. Here's your homework. Let's meditate 5 minutes for 5 times. 5 times a day, sit the body down for 5 minutes. Set your timer on your phone. And just all you do is you close the environment, get into that quiet space, go into the recesses of your mind, and start to bring your awareness to different parts of your body. Focus on your feet. Focus on your shoulder, your right eyebrow, the top of your head, your left pinky. Move your awareness around. Feel the energy within you. And then begin to heal the body, deepen the connections, and create the life that you want to live. Thank you for listening. If you liked that episode, please subscribe, like, or write a review. Let me know how that landed with you. If you'd like to support this podcast, please check out in the show notes where you can buy me a chai tea, or you can join my newest podcast membership for exclusive episodes, guided meditations, and transformative exercises that you won't find anywhere else. Bring your journal, open your heart, and let's get ready for some serious transformation.